Ready?
Mhm,
Готов?
mhm.
Hello, everybody. Всем привет. Uh, Ina and I are very excited to start this course. Did you have something you want to say now at the beginning?
Yeah, hi everybody. Very happy to see all of you and also people who will be watching it recorded. It's a big day today for
Mm.
both of us because I know that Bill had a dream to um, teach ACI classes a long time ago. Uh, and I'm very happy to help him with this dream.
Uh, yeah, uh, I did these classes 20 years ago, uh, all 18 of them. And when I got them 20 years ago, the only way you could get them was in the mail. You would write a letter, like a handwritten letter, put it in the post box with your check, and then you'd get a box back in the mail of it had the text in it, and it had cassette tapes of the classes that had been taught in the '90s in New York by Geshe Roach. And when I got them, uh, every time a new box came in the mail, it was like a Christmas present. It was very exciting uh, because they had answers there. Uh, it was clear that something special was going on. I would listen to the classes, and it would literally, physically shake me. Uh, uh, I I was listening to some of the classes in my car, uh, and I had to stop because I'd be like, it was literally, I couldn't focus on driving
Mm.
and the class at the same time. The information in there was that exciting.
I think probably it would be a good idea to tell who we are
Okay.
because some people may not know us. So, and here is Bill McMichael, William Lynn Jr. McMichael, um, my husband, and he is a long-term Geshe Michael student. He was studying these teachings that we start today for over 24 years. He started with Geshe Michael's teacher, Ken Rinpoche, and then he was studying with Geshe Michael Roach. He finished all the open and secret teachings. He, by the way, he's a pilot, and he was all his life very busy flying. Uh, he had kids. So it's not that he was leading a, I don't know, monk's life. He was in the middle of the society, and he still did all these classes and finished his studies with a great retreat, 3-year retreat, 2010, 2014. And we've met 4 years ago and got married 3 years ago. Mm. Anything about you that I missed?
Oh, that basically covers it. There, for people, I think most people are familiar. There's two groups of courses. There's the foundational courses, 18 of them that we'll go through in this program. And then there are 18 advanced courses that we'll do later. And so uh, that those were the two big groups of teachings that I did. And then uh, when I finished the advanced courses, I went into a 3-year meditation retreat to apply what I had learned, to look into your mind, which is something we'll discuss later, the role of your mind in all of this. Mm-hmm. And then my wife, this is Ina Ivanina. She is Ukrainian, she's a doctor, a pediatrician. And then after she finished number one in her medical school, number one, got the highest grade possible in every one of her classes. Ask me how I know that.
It's true.
And then after that, she went on to go get a PhD. And it helped prepare her extremely well for the courses that we're doing now. And so she's also completed the 18 foundational courses, and is one of Geshe Michael's students, but one of the she does a lot for him. Instead of the last year, instead of working here in the United States as a doctor and making lots of money, we both felt it was more important for her to work volunteering her time to be able to teach this stuff. So it's, and I can tell you from having lived with her, she's one of the kindest people I've ever met.
Okay, let's.
Which is the result of the classes, which we'll talk about later.
Let's stop praising each other. Maybe it was not such a great idea.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, why study this stuff? What is it? Why do we care? One of the most interesting things about these courses is there really are answers to what we are doing here as human beings. Why is our world the way it is? Why are we experiencing what we are experiencing? And I think most of us have some kind of rough sense, but this course is for people who want a deeper, better explanation. And it's extremely helpful if you do study it for making decisions in your life. And what do I mean by that? There's really only one idea, one big idea. And that is, in English, we call it the golden rule. It's the idea that you should treat other people the way you want to be treated yourself. And it's a universal idea. And one of the miracles of the internet is that, you can do research that would take, months, years, in seconds. Somebody's already probably done it for you. And so I want to show you the Wikipedia page for the Golden Rule. Ina's going to pull it up.
I put it in the chat. I put it in the chat, and Francisco, when I try to share the screen, it writes that sharing screen will stop other computers' sound share. Do you want to continue? I'm not sure
okay.
if
No.
I will break anything, but we will have to share slides anyway, so maybe you have an idea.
It's okay. They can get the point. I don't want people to lose the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So the link there, it's a collection of every culture's version of the Golden Rule, every culture's version of why you want to treat other people the way you would want to be treated. And what's really remarkable is that you go through and every part of the globe, every major religion, every coherent non-religious philosophy, they all have some version of the golden rule. Confucianism, the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they all have a very clear statement. And quite often they go further and they'll say something like, that's the whole thing. That's all there is. And everything else is an explanation of that, an elaboration. And it's because there's something universal going on. Everybody who's human is living under, is living with the same situation. And the brilliance of this course is they explain to you why the golden rule is the golden rule. They're going to describe it in terms of cause and effect, and a concept we're going to talk a little bit today about emptiness. So they're looking at not just the outside world. There are clues in your outside world that things are different than what we normally think it would be. But then they're also going to look at the mind, because ultimately everything is coming from your mind. And it's a brilliant explanation, because once you understand that things are coming from you, that it's not just a good idea to treat other people the way you want to be treated, but that it's actually how you're creating your own experience of the world, it's profound. Because then you can start taking care of your problems. You have a real tool for changing your world the way you want it to be changed. And so, these teachings came from a specific time, a specific place, but they're universal to anybody who's human. And it's not just that you can change your world this way. It's the only way you're going to be able to change your world. It starts with each individual. So, and then that's why. that's the why. What do you have? Comments?
Actually, I have a technical comment to Francisco. If you hear me, I'm afraid that if we will share the screen now, because we want to show some slides, then some interpreters will not have access to their sound. So if you want, I can send you the slides that we want to share, and maybe if you will be sharing, it will be okay. Because we can check. I can share the slides and see if there will be still there will be a problem with this or not. I don't know if Francisco is there.
It's okay. We can go ahead. This is the first time we'll get the technical details better as time goes on, but we can do it without that.
Just don't be afraid. We will share all the slides with you. So if you are a new person and you do not know what's going on, you will see. You will be able to see the slides anyway. Okay, let's go.
All right. So this is the book that we're going to be, let me get around to it. That's the book that we're going to be using for this first course, The Principal Teachings of Buddhism. And it was written by a man named Jason Kappa. His dates are 1357, 1357 for the translators. I know how difficult numbers are for, and 1419, 1357 to 1419, 1419. And he was, he's going to be known in history as one of the major figures in world history in time. He was a reformer and brilliant, very active man. He he founded 108, right? Don't they say 108 monasteries?
His student actually.
Okay, it was a student.
More.
Yeah. So he founded the Gelukpa lineage, that is the lineage that these teachings are coming from. And so in a country where this philosophy was the business, he was an extremely successful businessman. Spread these teachings quite far and wide.
By businessman, he was not making money. He was just very successful in spreading these teachings.
Yeah, because they were in the business of these teachings. And so he was a great organizer of people and a leader in that way. He was also a great writer and a great translator. He translated 10,000 pages of very difficult commentary. And at the time, that much more difficult to do then than what it would be now. And he was also a great practitioner, and had the realizations that come on this path, which is no small thing. So he wrote the book, and then he actually wrote it for a student of his named Na Wang Drakpa, who also has that Na Wang Drakpa would be the monk's name of the student that he wrote it for. And Sako Wangpo would have been his given name, his original given name. And so I'll be perfectly honest, we don't hear much more about Na Wang Drakpa or Sako Wangpo after this, but it's there for a reason. Any thoughts on why that's there?
Actually, we do hear in ACI 9.
Okay, great.
Where when he said he was one of his closest students that is not really was not known afterwards. But why he was one of the closest students? Because he writes in his letters like my son to him, you know, so definitely he was. And he comes in ACI 1, in course 1, and in ACI 9. And the reason why this text was written, because he was sent by his teacher to barbarian lands of eastern Tibet, and he was told to found there 108 monasteries, not 8, not 1, not 10, 108. And in ACI 9 you will see another letter from Jetsun Kappa to Nyavan Drakpa, because to reply to his message that I did it, the last monastery is done, and I also ordained some monks, and he was asking for advice.
108 is the number of beads that are both on a Tibetan mala, the prayer beads that you count, and Christian rosary also has, coincidentally, 108. So that was the student. Then the man who wrote the book, who wrote the commentary to the principal teachings of Buddhism, Babonka Rinpoche. early 20th century. And Pobonka also wrote Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand, which many people believe is the greatest book that was ever written in this philosophy. And his dates were 1878 to 1941. And he was famous for teaching to lay people, not just the monks. And it was an unusual thing for a monk to teach common people. In the same way, Sako Wangpo went to the barbarian lands. In this worldview, any place where Buddhism hasn't reached, any place where this philosophy hasn't reached, is considered to be a barbarian land. Because it helps you understand why you should treat people the way you want to be treated. And when you understand that, it eliminates a lot of bad behavior, a lot of ineffective behavior, right? So Bobonka was also famous for teaching lay people. And there's stories of when he taught liberation in the palm of your hand that 10,000 people would gather. And
No microphone.
yeah, no microphone. Yeah, we're talking early 20th century Tibet. So something significant was going on there. Then the and then okay, so who was this? Interestingly enough, talking about this being universal, right? In Babonka Rinpoche's previous life, he was Chankya Ronpe Dorje, who was the teacher of the Emperor of China. And so at the time, because of the tensions, he didn't use that name frequently because of political tensions. But this information was not just limited to Tibet. It was universal. So yes, please
do a summary. So I know we have some old students and some new students. So maybe you are a bit lost who wrote what.
Mm-hmm.
So the main text is 14 verses. It's a poetry. You will get it translated into your language. And it is a very short book. But originally, I will show you, I have translation into Russian. Originally, Jetson Kappa wrote Lamrim Chenmo, big, like almost 2,000 pages book. That was, this book described every single point that you need to become another being, to I don't really like the word enlightenment. I like the word evolution, you know, to evolve to another level, you know, of your human functioning, right? And then because this book was too big, Lamrim Chenmo, big Lamrim, big book on stages on the path, he had to write a shorter one. I also have the translation into Russian. That's a short one, medium. And then also not all the students were able to get it. Then he has written even shorter one, like 10 pages. And then the last one, he wrote this poetry, 14 verses. And strange enough, they say that if you will master his lamrims, independently which one, even the shortest one, then you mastered the whole path.
And mastering the whole path is synonymous with completely ending your suffering. like all suffering, which is something we'll talk a bit about at the end of this class.
Yeah, now we can share our slides.
Oh, okay, great.
Thank you, Francisco. Thank you, Elena. So this is our author.
That's Jason Kappa.
Jason Kappa, as you will see him like standardized version, and now real Jason Kappa. Ready? Up. This is the only image left, the only picture left from the statue that was destroyed during Cultural Revolution, let's say. And this statue, only this picture left. And this is famous about the statue. He said that, oh, this one looks like me.
It's a statue of Jason Kappa. It's a picture of a statue of Jason Kappa. So we have something of an accurate image of what he looked like.
Okay. Then we talked about the name of the book, Three Principal Paths. We are catching up on the slides. And here is the name of a person for whom it was written. And interesting enough, once I heard from McMichael that Nyavan Drakpa was also another previous life of Pabonka Rinpoche. And here he is. Also some short story about Pabonka Rinpoche. Here you can see him being a young man, young monk, all happy, looking great. And then he had some spiritual obstacles, and this picture is in just 10 years at what happened to him. This picture is probably, you will see it more in the
And Pabonka Rinpoche is a name you'll hear over and over and over again as you study this philosophy.
And this is the secret palace, and they say that until these days they have a temple in the secret palace, and in Beijing a temple dedicated to Changyal Ronpai Dorje, an advisor of the Emperor of China that time, who was the former life of Pabonka Rinpoche, another former life about which they didn't talk because of political issues that time.
Great slide. Good picture to get.
Okay, so we are coming. This will be, okay, my love. Are you ready to move?
Yep. And so do you want to show them the picture of Trijong?
Again?
Yeah, go back to the slides.
Sure.
So this is Trijong Rinpoche. So now we're middle 20th century, and Trijong's dates were, let's see. Okay, there we go, up on the screen, 1901 to 1981. And he was one of the leading scholars in Tibet. He had been the junior tutor of
the leader of the lineage.
Of the leader of the lineage. And was famous for being one of the leading scholars. And he was the main teacher of Ken Rinpoche. Ken Rinpoche, Lobsang Tarchen, was Geshe Michael's teacher, and Ken Rinpoche wrote the introduction to the book that we've got here. And so Ken Rinpoche had been taught by one of the greatest teachers in Tibet. And Ken Rinpoche himself was a Larampa Geshe. which means many of you are probably familiar with it. To be a Larampa Geshe, when he did his graduation, he was the best debater.
One of five.
Well, one of five left in the world at the time. But the year he graduated, he was the number one student in Tibet, and had won the national debates. And at the time, I met him in 2001. And at the time, there were only, I believe, 5 Larampa Geshes left in the world. And so Geshe Michael had studied with Ken Rinpoche from the late 70s until he passed in 2004. I had the chance to study with him for 3 years, for 2001 to 2004. And Ken Rinpoche was a very powerful man. You could tell that he was very comfortable with who he was. And the same way I had grown up around business executives, and, an executive in their office, in control of a large company, they're very much like in charge, right? There's power, there's a weight to them. And Ken Rinpoche didn't have a fancy office. He had a little room in Howell, New Jersey, which is
Kalmyk Monastery near New York, New Jersey.
Yeah, in a lower middle class neighborhood, working class neighborhood, and he had a very modest house there, but very powerful, right? There was a strength to him. And so he wrote the introduction to this book. And he also was, I think there were 2 Larampa Geshes that I know of in the United States at the time. And so one of them, well, we can talk about that later, but
too many names.
Too many names, yeah. But anyway, if you were looking for an authoritative figure in the world, this was it. And so then Geshe Michael, spent more than 20 years.
It was him.
Directly with him, lived in the same house in Howell, New Jersey. And Geshe Michael put together the courses we're about to do. And so I've been a student of Geshe Michael for 23 years and had worked for a number of years directly with him as his assistant. And by assistant, I mean dishwasher.
He's over-exaggerating. Not only dishwasher, he was doing many things.
Including washing a lot of dishes and cooking. I like to cook, so. But it's interesting. You get to see somebody up close like that, right? In a day in and day out life. And when you're trying to decide whether or not this is a valid path, it's very helpful if you see people who've been on it, directly. So Geshe Michael has some extraordinary parallels to Jason Kappa. Jason Kappa translated 10,000 pages of material. Geshe Michael, with the aid of computers, has translated 30,000 pages of material. And I've read the different translations. I got my introduction to this philosophy at the university. Happened to be at the University of Virginia, where the leading scholars were teaching this. And I can say, if you've read the other books and you've read Geshe Michael's books, the translations, it's clear that his translations are the ones that are still going to be getting read 200 years from now, 300 years from now. And Geshe Michael was also not interested in money, but he's a great businessman. He was one of the founders of a diamond company, a jewelry company, that made hundreds of millions of dollars. And at one point was one of the fastest growing companies in New York.
I was sorry, Mark, I
Sure.
interrupt
No,
you, because I think very important, when I met Geshe Michael first time in Kiev, I had doubts. I was thinking, all this story about diamonds and companies, is it true or not? And Bill is, of course, by the time I met him, I was observing Geshe Michael very closely for many years already. So I knew that it's a real thing, it's not something fake. But Bill, he also had doubts in his time. And guess where he went to resolve his doubts? He met Geshe Michael's former owner of the company of Andin International. He went to meet Ofer Azraelat to New York. And he asked him if all of that was true.
Geshe Michael wrote a book about building the business, the diamond cutter, and said he used the principles in the book, the principles we're going to be talking about.
These principles.
To build a business. And I asked Ofer, is it true? Did you? And he said, yeah. He said he didn't think of it in exactly those terms, but it's the principles that they'd used. So that was important to me, because Ofer was Jewish, and
had nothing to do with these teachings
directly. Yeah, nothing directly. Because again, the teachings are universal. So, and Geshe Michael, he built the business because as a demonstration that he knew what he was doing with cause and effect. He knew why things are happening, and right, that and that the golden rule, and again, we'll talk more about it, but it's how you're creating things, right? And that there's a cause and effect relationship with everything that you do and what you get, which is why the golden rule is the golden rule.
I want to show you the Wikipedia page on the golden rule, and you can, when you will have time, just look it up. Every single major religion, every single major tradition, they say that don't hurt others if you know that it will hurt you. They say avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. Avoid harming other people. Do to other people what you want for yourself. Like any Jewish, Islam, Christianity, it doesn't matter. It's over and over all major religions, they all say the same. The issue is, we have close Baha'i temple, by the way. Even they say, Baha'i teachings, they say same. So, and they just don't say why.
Yeah, the Chinese religions, Confucianism, Taoism.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what we wanted to show to you in the beginning.
Okay, so
problems of the path.
Well, and also Geshe Michael. So Jason Kappa was
the founder of the lineage.
Founder of the lineage, great translator, great writer, very effective businessman, and business in the sense of organizing people to get something done. And
I cannot imagine a businessman now that could found 108 monasteries.
So, and Geshe Michael has done the same thing. Great translator, great writer, great practitioner, and uh, and you can tell that the key that somebody's really applied these teachings is you don't see them get angry. They'll be in a difficult situation. They don't get angry. They don't get jealous. They really do. They very even keeled, and they're very kind and considerate. It's and I've seen him in extremely difficult circumstances, and I've never seen him lose his composure. Never seen it. I've never seen a hint of anger, and it's pretty extraordinary. So
Okay.
three
Now we're done with the lineage and with the name of the book.
lot, and that's don't worry about the names; they'll come.
But they're very important. They're planting great seeds for the future, because all these guys mentioned today, they are major figures in advanced teachings. And the reason why Geshe Michael wanted us to hear their names, to plant, seeds in our mind, to hear more about them in future, or from them.
Right. Three problems of the pot.
Yeah.
You want to do that? You do the three problems of the pot.
Oh,
Oui.
I was not supposed to teach today.
Oh, well, I thought, okay, well,
It's okay, I can. Because we had a long discussion with Bill who will be teaching what. Also, when you start this something as holy as what we did, all the problems come out, all the demons, obstacles appear. So, and Bill will have to fly on Sunday. So we were thinking that he will teach today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, the problem of the part. So we have described the text, and we said that the text actually is a very rare thing, because it looks like it can bring you something maybe you were not even thinking that you can get. At the very least, when I was doing my ACI 1, I had an impression that my horizons, they're just going wider and wider, because I could not even think that I can get something that great out of my human's life. Then these are teachers, this is a teaching, the text, and then students. Who are the students? And they say that students also should be qualified. They can have three problems, and then it will be difficult for the students to get the teachings. And they call it three problems of the path. I bet we have a slide on it. Yeah. So problem number one is a path with the lid closed. It means that students may have other ideas. They do not listen to their teachers. In ancient times, teachers were called lamas, so don't get confused with the words here, because we just copied it from the homeworks. So they just don't pay attention. It doesn't get in the students what they study. Second is a dirty port, a problem of a dirty port. And it means that students can have a dirty motivation. What is meant by dirty motivation? It doesn't mean that a student is bad, but it means that if you will think about ancient times, like I was making a joke that if Bill would do his 3-year retreat in ancient Tibet, he would be after that a rich guy, famous everywhere, big lama, thousands of students, 10,000s of students. So, but he is lucky because he did it in Western society, where people do not consider it to be like a hero anything.
Oh, well, it was actually a little bit scandalous because I had a very good job and I left it. And so I wasn't making as I wasn't making money.
Yeah. So, and but if you will think about this ancient times, it was easier to get this dirty motivation, like, oh, I will do something considered to be holy, and I will be a big lama with lots of students. I will be never hungry or thirsty again in this lifetime. Like, was very easy to have bad motivation. I don't really think we have a lot of chance to have it nowadays.
Well, what you do see with people now is that the people who are attracted to this course, sometimes they can be looking for just intellectual accomplishment.
Oh yeah, PhD.
Yeah, yeah. And so they want to distinguish themselves with some kind of knowledge, some kind of academic study. And then all they want to do is debate and argue. And we call them Dharma monsters. And that's not the point of the teachings at all. It's not.
Dharma monster is a person who knows teachings perfectly well, never applied it, does not stick because of this wrong motivation.
And we'll talk about what it really looks like when you start learning the material and when you understand the material.
The third problem is a leaky pot.
Mm.
This is usually my problem because when you hear some teachings, but then you forget about it, like you cannot really retain all the information, or like I have some definitions that I'm struggling with for many years, cannot really remember by heart.
And the key to this, the key to not having a leaky pot is to do the whole course, to listen to the classes, do the readings, do the homeworks, do the meditations, and take the quizzes. If you do the whole program, you will retain the information. If you don't, I've seen it, you'll lose it. And all 18 courses are really valuable. I've seen, over a couple decades, people who do all 18 courses and all the work with it, they move on, they accomplish things. People who don't, they lose it, they forget it. So please do the other work beyond just the classes.
Something that also, especially if you are new to these teachings, you should probably know right away that it is very it is easy to lose attraction to these teachings. It is very very expensive to be here. Like every minute is very expensive, and we will help you to get your partners to support each other here if you will be doing homeworks with our teams. And I think for all languages, we will have teams to work together.
And by expensive, Ina, doesn't mean money. Obviously, we're teaching this for free. She's talking about it. It's a common term to use for people who are familiar with the system. It takes a lot of merit. It takes a lot of goodness to be able to hear
a lot of ethical actions.
Yeah, it's and more. We'll talk more about that later. But it's to have teachings these clear. It's pretty extraordinary. It took a lot of goodness for you to bring that into your life, and please take advantage of it and don't lose it.
You need to help somebody else to go this path in order not to flank out.
Yeah. So, okay. 3 problems. Okay. So there's three levels of practitioners. So this is the next question. There's three levels of practitioners that are considered to be what are we going to call it? To be using this philosophy correctly. At the lowest level, people will be aiming to take a better rebirth.
Just a comment, if you are not sure, did you have any rebirths? Because we told here already, we said that Paponka Rinpoche's past life,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Just put it on a shelf. Don't struggle with this now, because it is coming in the course 4. ACI 4 is about logic, and there will be a famous debate about past and future lives. And I didn't see even one person who, after studying this course, would say, no, still I think there were no past lives and there will be no future lives.
We can probably stop the sharing of the screen. Did we stop it?
We can show the next one.
Okay. And so, and as far as past and future lives, if you look at the nature of your mind more closely, you'll become more comfortable with the concept. You'll become comfortable with the concept that your consciousness is not going to stop when the physical body stops. So at the lowest level, people are just trying to get a better rebirth, and there are different realms, between like a worldly type heaven and a hell, and people are just trying to get a better rebirth inside of, what we'll call, it's called samsara, the cycle of life. And so the second level, people are trying to get themselves out of the wheel of life, out of samsara, and that's a whole long discussion also. Do you want to add anything about that at the moment? We can just leave it there. And then the third level, people are working for trying to get everybody out of samsara, everybody out of the cycle of suffering. They're trying to free everybody from pain. And there's some debate about whether you can really reach full enlightenment if you're just trying to get yourself out. And personally, I don't think you can. I don't think anybody would be content to leave somebody else suffering. So those are the three different levels. And to be part of this philosophy, if you're working for the goals of just this life, you're not even practicing this philosophy. At the minimum, you're going to be practicing for a better rebirth, something in the future. So, and then then that leads to the next question. How are you going up and down? How are you improving your next lives? There were.
By the way, we didn't say you cannot do anything for this life.
Yeah.
It is just this teaching scope goes much beyond.
Yeah, it's big. Their worldview is it's incredible. Wait until you see. It's really something. And so there's three things. There's three principal paths that you use to change your future. The first one, well, I'll just say what they are. They're renunciation, the wish for enlightenment, and the correct view of emptiness. And so renunciation is simply being tired, which is, as a pilot flying all night long, it's particularly easy. It's being tired of the suffering, being tired of things going wrong, right? there's all different types of suffering, but you don't have to look far. People, if you're human, you have problems, right? Problems with your partners, problems with your money, problems with your health.
We have two big wars now ongoing on the planet. I think at least there is something good at this war. We don't have to convince people that life is suffering now, right?
Yeah, horrible images, and the world's a dangerous place to live, right? Like extremely dangerous. And so renunciation, there is an idea that it's some kind of denial, right? Like I'm not going to have fun,
Money.
or money, or partner.
And this is not renunciation.
It's not. It's not about denying yourself anything. It's about being tired of pain, and identifying the problem accurately. And I think that's the main thing, is to identify the problem accurately. Because even if you can, stay healthy, have your perfect partner, have all the money you want, you're still going to get old and die, right? And then the question is, then what? Then what?
Yeah, it is very famous. They were in ancient times talking about 4 great sufferings, like Kya Gana Chi. And sorry, I like Tibetan, so I will give some Tibetan words. Kya Gana Chi. Kya is to be born, then to age, Ga, Na to get sick, and Chi is the death in Tibetan. So like anybody who was born, McMichael is joking that was a very stupid thing of you. Because to be born means to age, get sick, and die automatically, right?
Yeah. The cause of death is birth. You're guaranteed to die when you're born. And so then whether it's cancer or a heart attack or whatever, those are the details. You were already guaranteed you were going to die.
Yeah. And also something that you cannot probably find anywhere else except these teachings is what struck me personally at some point when I realized that it is not a fairy tale, it's a real thing. They talk in these teachings about the fact that to get all of that, like get sick, old, and die, is not mandatory. It's an option. Is it easy to stop it? No. Is it possible? Yes.
Yeah, they're saying that you can get out of this cycle of suffering, this endless cycle of getting old, dying, taking rebirth, and then just coming back over and over and over again. They're saying that you can get out of that entirely. They get out of samsara, and I'm convinced that they're accurate on that.
So we talked about Nianjun, renunciation, or I'm tired.
Yeah. So that's renunciation. I'm tired of suffering. I am tired of suffering. The next step, the next path is bodhicitta.
Wish for enlightenment.
The wish for enlightenment. And so that's renunciation for everyone. You're saying, okay, I don't want to suffer. Other people don't want to be suffering either. And I'm going to do what I can to help them get out of suffering.
And I love the way McMichael talks about it, like, in normal language. He says, imagine that you are hungry, really hungry. And you are in front of a great restaurant, very fancy. Which stars?
A Michelin star?
Three Michelin stars
Yeah.
restaurant. And you have lots of money, you can buy everything on the menu, you go in all happy, get your food, and then you see that outside hungry people are looking in the windows, and just staring at you. And you have money to help them, you have money to buy this food for them. Then the question is, what do you want to do, right? And if you really don't want to be happy alone, if you really want to be happy with everybody else happy, then this is what it meant here,
Yeah.
basically.
It's the only rational thing. There's no way in the world you could be happy leaving somebody else suffering like that if you knew a way out. And it speeds things up greatly too. You'll get your results a lot quicker if you're working hard for other people, which is a cool part of the story. So the last one, Young Dakbe Pawa, the correct view of emptiness.
Mhm.
Oh boy. We are going to be talking about emptiness a lot. That is really the big innovation, the big insight, the critical point. So, we started this talk with the golden rule: treat other people the way you want to be treated yourself. And that's because there's a cause and effect relationship, karma. Everything you do comes back to you. And so that's the positive side, right? We're talking about what looks like the external world. On the other side, like, why is that possible? Why is what I'm doing to somebody else going to affect what's happening to me later? And that's possible because things are empty. And
They should not be the way they are. They can be anything.
yeah, and things are empty of inherent existence. And again, that's a very hard concept. I mean, I sat with it I still have a long way to go in understanding it, and had to sit with it for years to get even a basic understanding of it. But it's the key to the genius of this entire course, of this lineage. What's happened is that these people like Jason Kappa and Geshe Michael, they've meditated deeply, and they've looked into the nature of their own mind, and they've seen that our reality is different than what we think it is, that we've been mistaken about what we think reality is, that we think that things exist outside of us from their own side, that person that you're mad at has some characteristic, some quality of being bad or unpleasant that's in them. It's in them. Oh, they are unpleasant. It doesn't have anything to do with my mind. It's in them. And that's a wrong worldview. That's the wrong worldview. Emptiness is saying that they could have been anything. It's my mind is projecting an image onto that person that's showing me something that's unpleasant, or on the other hand, pleasant. And it's coming from something I did in the past. And we're going to spend the next 6 years and probably another 6 years after that talking about this. It's hard. It's hard to believe. But it's why Geshe Michael works nonstop. And he sleeps like 4 hours a day. And he gets up and, again, I was around business people who were proud of how hard they worked. And they
They do not know how to work
They-
compared to McMichael.
I mean, just nonstop. It's his whole life. Because he's seen this process. He's seen the way his mind works. He's seen emptiness directly. They call it the direct perception of emptiness. And then once he saw that, he had a whole series of realizations, and he realized that we can get out of suffering, that we're trapped, and we're creating the trap ourselves. And things can be different. Things aren't self-existent. You don't have to suffer, and you can get out. We'll talk about emptiness a lot more.
One thing I want to add that this is not probably you realized already something we make up, and this is even not something that McMichael made up. All these teachings are coming from beings who are not mistaken. I mean, they were humans, people who walked this path and reached their goals and proven it works correctly. So this is why we can trust these teachings.
Yeah, it's really, I read the New Testament. Jesus knew what he was talking about. He says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then there's not much written. He doesn't explain why. They say he went off to meditate all the time. They don't tell you what he was doing. That's the incredible gift we've been given with this set of teachings. They explain what he was doing. They explain why all of these great teachers from all of these different traditions were so adamant about treating people around you with kindness. And it's related to emptiness. And emptiness they saw in a deep state of meditation, and then had all the realizations that came after that. So it's extraordinary. It's really and all the teachings, they've all been translated clearly. All the practices are there. Everything you need to get out of suffering, permanently out of suffering. It's there. It's in a package, and people will give it to you for free. Anything else to add?
No, we have one question. I think we will not change translators because it looks like we can finish within 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, we kept going. We didn't give you your break.
No, actually, I wanted to give a break, but I have seen that we are almost at the end. So.
Okay.
Okay. You want me to do? You want to do yourself the last question?
Oh, no, you can do it.
So the last question is actually, I can share with you. I have one game that I play when I do ACI courses. I try to understand why McMichael puts sometimes strange questions, that like just go out of all the class. Like you will see class 2, the last question is really very strange. Does not seem to be related to the class, but it is. And then why? It's a game for me to play, to understand. Am I speaking too fast?
Too fast. Maybe. Może wait.
Okay. So the last question is this 3 stages we just talked about, like renunciation, or I'm tired, I also like the expression, I'm fed up with the fact that the world does not work like I expect it to work. Second is the wish for enlightenment. And the third is the correct worldview. So are these physical, mental, or are they concepts? And I was thinking, wow, that's a weird question, because they don't talk about it much in the book. I mean, why McMichael talks about, like, okay, maybe it is important, but interesting that in order to answer this question, you need some other information, like what is physical, what is mental, and what is a concept. Because this is why I couldn't answer this question when I was doing ACI classes for the first time. Okay, and and then you start to think like, wow, that it is so weird. These guys meditating in ancient times, they were really, they had global thinking. Like they said, let's consider everything that exists. Like, wow, everything? They say, yeah, everything. Every existing thing can be divided into changing and unchanging. I remember I heard for the first time, I was like, wow, what? Who's thinking that way? Like, it's strange. Okay. And they say most of things are changing. Like only three things are unchanging. And it is emptiness. Bill was talking about the fact that all the things have no nature on their own. They can be anything depending on my previous actions, words, and thoughts, depending on what I was doing in the past and what I'm projecting right now. So emptiness, okay. Then they say empty space. And let's not go into details. We will get further courses and where it will be like in big details, reviewed in details. And they say also some facts. Then they say everything else is changing. Everything is changing. And there are only 3 categories of changing things. What are they? First is physical. Second is mental. And third is not physical, not mental. And concepts go into this category. Like physical is, the definition is easy, and first time I heard it I was thinking it's stupid because it is so easy. Anything that can be defined as physical. This is in other words, you can say that it is something that has form, you know, can be touched, that is material. And then mental, even funnier definition, transparent, non-material, and aware. Okay, so are these stages like renunciation, the wish for enlightenment, and wisdom go into these 2 categories, physical or mental? It's not physical, not mental, because it's not a thing that we can point, which we can show, oh, this is the phone, this is the pen, this is Bill. Okay, his body is physical, not the whole Bill. And it's not mental because mental is should be aware, so it's about consciousness. And this is not consciousness. And they say it is not physical, it is not mental, it is a concept. They ask, it is actually mental because it happens in our mind. It's a stage of our realization. And just to touch non-physical, not mental, it's, for example, Bill, mind and body. So together under one label. This is mental. This is not physical, not mental. It's a concept. Almost didn't confuse.
Almost. So are the realizations mental, physical, concept?
Stages of our realizations are mental, yeah.
Yeah.
I am aware of something. I realize something. So this is something that is happening in our mind, to say.
And I think that's the critical point is, as you'll see as you go through the course, that our minds are, everybody, each one of us individually, our minds are playing a much larger role in our experience of the world than what we normally think it is. Much larger.
This is the last question, and I think there are a couple of things to add. First, all the teachings, like this course number one, it actually like draws a big picture of all the teachings. It is very profound, and then the seeds are growing, and now we are reviewing together with Bill these classes and discuss, and we are shocked like how profound they are. And it was not it was profound before, but now like it is totally different taste. Like when you are exposed for longer to the teachings, it is actually very funny how it feels. Then there will be people who are doing ACI 1 for the first time, and you will see on the platform there will be homeworks and quizzes and analytical meditations. So homeworks are easy. You just answer from the class. I think we gave all the answers. We have everything here. You can also use notes if they are translated into your language. And there will be quizzes, like less questions, but you cannot look into any other materials when you answer quizzes after the homework. And also at least 2 analytical meditations to each class, and you start with thinking about renunciation. Analytical meditation is easy. If you haven't done it, so you just need to be at some place quiet and to be able to just close your eyes and really think about this subject deeply, like for 15 minutes. You just take your telephone, put your alarm in 15 minutes, or there are specific applications for used for meditation, so you can use any of them. And you just think, and you will see that there is a huge difference between thinking like when you're walking or when you're somewhere, like just when you're sitting and staring in the ceiling, and thinking deeply at the quiet place when nobody is bothering you and you close with closed eyes. There is a huge difference. You will go with much, you will get more depth.
Yeah, it's like the meditation is planting the knowledge firmly in your mind. You'll be able to use it, and otherwise you'll lose it. It's the course was extremely well designed. There's a reason for everything, and everything has its place.
The course is based on Tibetan system of learning that is in Tibetan To Sam Gom. To is to hear when somebody is explaining to you something. Then Sam is you think about it, deeply think, like in analytical meditation. And then GOM, you go into deeper meditations, and then you really meditate on the meaning of it. So this is a very good. Or you can say you also think about the subject when you do your homeworks. So it also sum in a way, and then you really meditate on the meaning. Right?
Yeah. And this course will be tremendously helpful for helping you solve your problems. Like things that you wouldn't imagine you can solve, you'll be able to solve, and things that you wouldn't imagine you'd ever see. It's extraordinary things happen, and so I hope you stick with it.
And maybe the last thing, these teachings are coming from Tibet. It's not about Tibet at all. Doesn't have anything about Tibet, because you have seen the Golden Rule. You can research in Wikipedia. Golden Rule page contains all the same quotations from different religions and different philosophical approaches, and they all say the same thing.
It's every human being is in the same condition, and this will describe and explain the situation that every human being is in.
And that was it. We would like to thank everybody who participated. Special thank you for the team. We have a great team. We couldn't imagine that we can get a team like that. Translators, we're translating into, I think, 10 languages now.
10.
And by the way, if you want to plant great seeds, you can join translators team. We have requests to translate into some languages, but we don't have many translators yet, like French, Spanish, Polish, Italian, German. If you want to help with written materials or any other help, so it will be very valuable. You will plant great seeds for the future. Okay.
Next class? When's the next class?
Next class is tomorrow. So tomorrow there will be 2 great classes. I love them. And William Lynn McMichael will be teaching, and I will be sitting here.
Well, we'll both be teaching.
Okay, thank you very much, and see you tomorrow. Thank you, translators.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting us share this with you. We've both been very excited. It's a major moment in my life to be able to share this. It's like one of my major life goals was be able to keep this knowledge alive and pass it on. So I'm very grateful for every one of you for being here and listening.
Thank you. Bye.